Welcome students, hope you are doing well. You know that all the schools have been closed down to slow down the transmission of COVID-19 by the government. But there's nothing to worry because Amar Ghore Amar school has brought your classroom to your home through Bangladesh Sanshad television. So without wasting any time, let's start today's class.
I've finished my homework. I'm going to Jenny's house. I won't be late back.
Where is she? It's late.
She said she had finished her homework. So she was going to Jenny's house. She said she wouldn't be late. Let's phone Jenny's house.
The topic that we are going to learn today is basic of changing speech, or you can say the basics rules of narration. You may find this lesson at Unit 13, Lesson 1 in your prescribed book as basics of changing speech. Now at first we can see some pictures here. What can you see in this picture? In the first picture we can see there is a girl, she's playing and she said, "I play baseball with my friends." Now the second girl say, what did she say? Now the third girl is answering, she said that she plays baseball with her friends. Now we can see that the first person's speech is being transferred to others. This is known as speech change. Yes, you have guessed it right. The topic that we are going to learn today is direct and indirect speech. Now there are two ways to report what someone says. It can either be in direct speech or in indirect speech. Now what are you going to learn after today's class? After today's class, you will be able to understand direct and indirect speech. You will be able to understand reporting and reported speech. And lastly, you'll be able to have an idea about the changes that happen when we transfer sentences from direct to indirect speech. Our speaker's word can be reported in two ways. As I have said before, what is direct speech then? Direct speech is the exact words of speaker. The exact words. That means there will be no kind of change in case of direct speech. For example, the teacher said to Akash, "You have a bright future." So I have said, I have reproduced exactly what the teacher said by using inverted commas here. Now in the second case, what can we see? What is indirect speech? What the speaker has said without using the exact words. So I'm reproducing the same sentence but in another way without using exactly what the teacher has said. For example, the same sentence can be changed into, the teacher told Akash that he had a bright future. As you can see here, there are some changes that have been made, but we are going to focus on these changes later. So we may often be required to report what we have heard elsewhere. For example, if I hear someone saying something, I'm going to reproduce it to someone else by using indirect speech. There are two ways of reporting what another person has said. Firstly, we can quote or reproduce the actual words by the speaker, as in, Kamal said, "I'm going to school now." And Mona said, "We shall have done our work." So as I have used in this sentence, what have I done? I have reproduced the actual words that have been said by the speaker, Kamal and Mona. So we can come to a conclusion that the reproduction of the exact words of the speaker is called direct speech. Now what is indirect speech? Let's see that. We may also give an account of what another person has said. In other words, when the meaning of a speech is conveyed in the reporter's word, it's called indirect speech. So if I'm going to describe someone else saying in my own way, that is going to be known as indirect speech. Now when we use direct speech in our writing, the exact words must be spoken inside speech mark. Speech marks are also known as quotation marks. Secondly, we are going to first spoken word must have a capital letter. And thirdly, when a new speaker begins, we must start a new sentence. So what is direct speech in a way? In a sentence we can say, in direct speech we use the speaker's own words. For example, look at the sentence. He said, I am playing. She said, I shall paint my room. As I have said before, we have used inverted comma here, and we have used the exact word that have been said by the speaker. In the third sentence we can see, he said, I have finished the work today. So all these three examples are the uses of direct speech by mentioning the exact word of the speaker. Now what is indirect speech? Indirect speech or reported speech reports what a speaker said without using the exact words. When we report what another person has said, we usually do not use the speaker's exact word, but reported speech. Therefore, you need to learn how to change from direct speech to indirect speech, and that's going to come in the exam as well. Indirect speech. In reporting speech, the tense usually changes. This is because when we use reported speech, we are usually talking about a time in the past. So when we talk about something in the past, what do we usually do? We use the past simple tense. For that reason, the tense might be changed. In indirect speech, we report what was said. We sometimes need to change pronouns, time expressions, and we do not use the speech mark, that is the quotation mark. Now let's look at the same sentences using direct and both indirect speech. The first one, he said, I am playing. We know that this is an example of direct speech. Now how we are going to change it into indirect speech? He said that he was playing. Dear students, you don't need to get confused right now because I'm going to show in details how you're going to change from direct to indirect speech, but what you're going to focus now is the changes that have been made. So in the first example, what can we see? We see that has been added. We can see that the pronoun has been changed and also the tense has been changed here. Now let's look at the second example. She said, I shall paint my room. So this is an example of, again, direct speech. Now when I have changed it into indirect speech, what did I say? She said that she would paint her room. She said that she would paint her room. So would have been changed here from will. And this is the third one. He said, I have finished the work today. He said that he had finished the work that day. That means here we can see that have has been changed into had and today has been changed into that day. Inverted commas have been omitted or deleted and we have added that. So what changes did you notice? In together, we can see several changes. What are they? The omission of comma, the use of that, the change of pronoun, the change of tense, and the change of adverb of place and time. In the first sentence, Paul said, I am feeling ill. What are the things that you can notice here? First of all, I have said exactly what Paul has mentioned. So that means I am reproducing the exact words of Paul. I have used a comma after said. I have started the reported speech with inverted comma, and I have used inverted comma to end the sentence as well. At the end, since this is an affirmative sentence, I have used full stop. Now let's see what I have changed in indirect speech. In indirect speech, I have written, Paul said that he was feeling ill. So Paul said that he was feeling ill. I have not said what exactly Paul has said. I am saying this thing in my own words to someone else. For that reason, what are the changes that we can see? First of all, we can see that has been added in place of the comma. So the comma has been deleted, and in place of that, we have added that. We can see that in indirect speech, the pronoun that has been used is he. On the other hand, in direct speech, the pronoun that was used was I. Since in the first direct speech, Paul was saying exactly what he was feeling, that's why I have been used, since this is personal. This is first person singular number. On the other hand, when we have changed indirect speech, we have used he, which is third person singular number as a pronoun. The second change that we can see here is the use of was in place of am. So we know that when I am saying I am feeling ill, I am using present continuous tense. But when I am saying he was feeling ill, I am using past continuous tense because was has been used here. So tense has been changed in indirect speech. And thirdly, we can see that the inverted comma have been removed completely. But the full stop that is given at the end of the sentence, it is intact. It has not been changed. So what are the changes? In a brief, we can say that no speech markers in the indirect speech. We can see we added that in place of the comma. Thirdly, the pronoun has been changed from I to he. And fourthly, tense has been changed from am to was. So what have we learned in today's class so far? We have learned that saying exactly what someone has said is called direct speech. Sometimes it's also known as quoted speech. Here, what a person says appears within the quotation mark and should be word for word. That means the exact word. For example, I am going to the cinema. So we can see that inverted commas have been used. The speaker is saying exactly the same word that the speaker has said, and he said has been added at the end of the sentence. Now, I can use the he said part at the beginning as well. That's also correct. We have also learned about indirect speech in today's class. Indirect speech or reported speech reports what a speaker said without using the exact words. So I'm reproducing the same thing but in my way. In indirect speech, we report what was said. We sometimes need to change the pronoun, time expression and tense. And lastly, we do not use the speech mark or the quotation mark. Dear students, now it's time for homework. So what is your homework? You have to write 5 sentences using direct speech. And while you write it, do not forget to give the quotation mark, do not forget to use the correct punctuation, and also focus on the tense that you are using. You have to write any 5 sentences on your own. Do the homework. Submit it to your respective teacher after the school reopens. The evaluation given by your teacher will be added to your continuous assessment. I hope you have enjoyed the class and you have understood the basic differences between direct and indirect speech. If you want to watch this class again, go to our Facebook page Amar Ghore Amar School, or you can watch this class in our YouTube channel as well, Amar Ghore Amar School. Follow the rules given by the government. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.